way of starting 2020 than to be with you to think about how we can make dementia care what it needs to be for those who need it. Thank you and Laura and the team for inviting myself and Sarah to open the meeting with you with music. Many faces look familiar, but for those of you who don't know me or Sarah, I'm Grace Meadows, Director of Music for Dementia 2020, a campaign to make music available for everyone living with dementia throughout their care pathway. And Sarah Metcalfe is the Chief Executive of a charity I'm sure you will be familiar with, Palylist for Life. And Sarah's going to say more about her charity and playlists in a moment. But to get us started today, Sarah and I are going to be thinking with you about the power of music for people living with dementia, how and why it matters, and how you can help make it part of personalised care for people living with dementia. For me, music is the golden thread in dementia care across the 6 areas of personalised care we're going to be thinking about today. Care for people living with dementia is often seen as a process of managing decline, but this does not have to be the case, as many of you will know. Music-based interventions in dementia care re-energises people as they experience and enjoy music from their past, connects them with carers and their loved ones through sharing music together, and enables them to contribute to others' well-being through being part of a shared experience in the here and now. And music is a universal experience. It connects us, it opens up communication and enhances and enriches care. Most importantly, music is personal. First, a quick question. Hands up, how many of you consider yourselves musical? Thank you, and I totally agree. For those of you whose hands didn't go up, good news. You are also musical. You too are musical beings. We all have a heartbeat, so we all have a pulse and a sense of timing. And we all have our own style of movement, so we all have rhythm. We all have our own unique voices, so we can create pitch and melodies, and our voices together create harmony. And when we combine all of these elements, we have a style or genre of music. But more than that, we each have the capacity to respond to music and have our own unique and personal relationship with music. And it's with us throughout our lives. And it's that unique and personal relationship with music that tells others who we are. And it gives people a sense of our identities, our history, and what matters to you. So if I was to ask that question again, I'd expect to see all hands go up. We're both social and communicative beings, and those characteristics are what sets us apart and makes us who we are, human beings, people. And when dementia takes hold, the need to stay connected becomes even more profound and necessary. And as verbal skills decline, the feeling of being connected can also feel as though it's slipping away. However, we know that music can both help retain and enhance being connected, and fundamentally, it provides an alternative channel for communication. So for someone living with dementia, being able to use music to communicate, express themselves, and for it to help people around them to see them for who they are, to see the person and not the dementia, is vital in helping to enrich and enhance dementia care. Music enables people to be contributors and not just recipients of care. And we know that music is powerful for people living with dementia because it works at a deeply emotional level and enhances the psychological, social, physical health and well-being of people living with dementia. Importantly, there is also increasing recognition of the value music brings to carers, and I come back to that point about us all being musical beings. Music works with people's abilities and capacities. It's not about what they can't do, quite the opposite. It's about what they can do, and that's because music is personal. Uniquely, someone's musical preferences stay with them throughout their dementia journey and has an essential role to play in their care pathway, from diagnosis through to end-of-life care. And the way in which we make music personal in dementia care is by finding out what music matters to someone. And we talk very much about the musical menu of choice, from playlists to music therapy and everything in between, be it a dementia disco, a singing group, playing an instrument. It's about what matters to the individual, and that's how we make it personal. It's not about doing music to someone, it's about using music to be with somebody, to enhance and enrich a relationship. And we talk about the right music at the right time, delivered in the right way by the right person. And this is where I'm going to hand over to Sarah, and she's going to talk about the power of playlists.
Hi everybody. I'm just going to tell you a little tiny bit about Playlist for Life before we go into the warm-up exercise where we begin to see this power of personal music really strongly. Playlist for Life is a UK charity, and we've got a very simple vision, which is that everyone with dementia should have access to a playlist of what we call the soundtrack to your life. And everyone who loves or cares for them, who they encounter on their dementia journey, should know how to use that playlist as a bridge, as a way of connecting, and as a way of communicating. And the reason we call it the soundtrack to the life is yes, as Grace says, we're all musical beings, but we all have tunes that mean something very special to us. It's more than preference, it's more than just, oh, I really like Westlife. Well, I don't actually really like Westlife. Well, they're fine, but yeah. It's more than preference. It's those tunes that when you hear them, they get you in the pit of the stomach. Sometimes they give you a flashback feeling, take you back to another time, person, or place. Sometimes it's just that they give you a really deep feeling, and that feeling stays with you throughout your life. And if you can find those tunes for an individual and create them into a playlist, you make something very powerful accessible at any time, day or night, in a way that music therapists cannot be. You can't have a string quartet in your bedside table, but you can have a wee iPod that you can play it, or you can have a list of songs on the wall that whoever's with you knows what to sing to calm you down. So that's why we believe that if we can all track down our musical identity into a playlist, and we all know how to use it when we meet someone who's got one, then that could really help us in personalising dementia care. As a charity, what do? We share that knowledge. We teach people how to become music detectives, how to explore somebody's life story to find clues to the tunes that will resonate most deeply with them. We support community organisations like churches, libraries, carer centres to set up help points in their local communities to help people who are maybe getting stuck finding that or getting stuck with technology. And at the moment, although our headquarters is in Glasgow, we have more than 400 local help points nationwide, and were awarded 1.6 million by the lottery in the middle of last year to take that to scale across the UK over the next 3 years. We also collaborate with other partners to deliver solutions to barriers that people may encounter. We developed with the BBC Archive, BBC Music Memories, which is a tool where you can, it's not a listening tool, you can't listen to all the tracks because licensing is very tricky, but you can use it as a finding tool. They've grouped tunes by various themes related to people's life, like what region, where in the country somebody's from, what age they are. All of that is there, available to you to listen to tunes, see if you get a reaction, and then you can store it. There's a little booklet I've put on the tables, the Music Detective Workbook, which has been very generously helped by the Utley Foundation to produce, which is for children to use with grandparents. It teaches them to become a music detective and find those tunes for their granny. And the other thing that we do as a charity is share that knowledge by providing training for health and care professionals so that you can use playlists as a way of delivering person-centred care and as a way of quite naturally helping care to become more person-centred. Just a quick film, literally 80 seconds, to show you what that means in action. A silent film.
Lorna Whittaker lives with dementia.
Lovely work of art.
But one thing that always puts a smile on her face is music.
That was an old one.
That is an old one.
For the last 8 years at the Lilyburn Care Home just north of Glasgow, they've been creating music playlists for each resident with dementia, made up of their favourite songs. Lorna, you seem to enjoy that singing there.
Well, I do.
What kind of memories is it bringing back?
All these nice ones.
And the results have been startling.
Medicine can be a quick fix for people, perhaps with dementia, but for Long in particular, we try music before medicine.
Music has helped bring about a 60% drop in the use of sedating drugs in the care home, and playlists are being prescribed by GPs.
This is actually really being treated as seriously as medication.
Yeah, because we recognise this as a big issue for people with dementia, and if we can control their distress and their agitation, it makes a big difference to the quality of life.
How do you find that music for somebody? Becoming a music detective, how do you do that? What is the music that should be on somebody's playlist? In this next exercise, try it for yourself. Have a think about what you would put on your playlist. And in your groups, share that with your groups. There's some little white slips about that size, which I didn't keep one of, so I cannot demonstrate, but I put them round on the tables. And if in your tables you could speak either to the person next to you or to the table as a whole about what a tune that you would have on your playlist and why. Why is it deeply attached to your memories or feelings? Is it a song from your wedding? Is it the first band that you went to? Is it the one that reminds you of your first love? Is it a tune that a teenage child played again and again and again in their bedroom? What is it that means that when you hear that tune, you have an emotional response to it? And if you could just do that, then we'll feed back maybe about that. Yeah? How many minutes? 5 minutes? When you're in the middle of a great conversation, because I do think that it's amazing how music can spark really good conversations. Would anybody be willing to share a story from one of the that you've been sharing in your tables?
Okay, this is the one I wrote down. This is the one that we were just talking about. Okay, so when I was 15, I had my first boyfriend. For 2 years, we went out together, and then we split up, and he went off with one of my best friends. And about 3 weeks after we split up, we were at a party, and Lionel Richie, Hello, was playing, and I saw the pair of them smooching on the dance floor. And I was in full tears, and to this day, I cannot listen to that song.
We call those red flag songs, the songs that take you back to somewhere you don't want to be. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Good. That's all right. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm Jerry Hall, and
the tune which always tend to create a lot of motivation, stimuli, whatever we want to term it. It's by Jim Reeves. It's called "We Thank Thee." I'm not going to sing it for you. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to hear it. Yeah, and when I hear it, it takes me back to my teenage years in Barbados, and also the time when I sang in a male voice quartet, and I sang tenor. I'm still a very good tenor, actually. I'm being modest. And it also takes me back to the time when I migrated from Barbados and came here. It was a kind of a frame of reference. If ever I felt a bit under the bed, as you said, I thought generally singing "We Thank Thee." And also bringing back precious memories of my courting days. And also, when I first got married, and so up to now, I'm still very thankful for that one. So we thank it encapsulates a whole lot of things. Just, the joy of living.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I think we've maybe got time for one more, if there is one. Over.
Thank you. It sounds a bit square, but when I was in my 20s, I belonged to one of the major London choirs. And I, sort of having a record player at that time was quite something. I was a student nurse and then a qualified nurse, I was in London. And the one I've just picked out really, the singer was Kathleen Ferrier, and I just loved her, the feeling she brought to her singing. And so this is quite serious. Art thou troubled? Music will calm thee. I expect many people know that. It's a lovely sort of calm song, but it just wasn't that one. It was. I would love to hear, if I had dementia, her singing, because it's very calming and I don't know, enriching.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody and thanks for all of you for doing it. I think what that shows us is why the soundtrack to a person's life can be a great way into personalising the care and the connection that you have with them. Because in microcosm, it's that we've heard about these songs. If I'd gotten home, I would be playing something and we could see the reaction that people would have. Maybe not hello, I would be but it's also that we've all learned something new about people in a way that you wouldn't have done if you hadn't talked about the music, because it's very easy, I think, not to get stuck and not really understand the person who's in front of you when it's become difficult to communicate and connect. But through music, you can open the doorway to being able to do that. So thank you very much. I've put some leaflets about Meadows for Life and the things that we do out and over there if you want some. And please approach me at any time about any of it. So thank you.